All right. So thank you so much for joining today. My name is Catherine. I'm a registered dietitian with Health Partners Plans. And this is Cooking with HPP. We went virtual, as you know, once COVID hit us. And I'm here from my kitchen. So welcome to my home. Today we're going to be doing a really quick and simple recipe. We're making pancakes just a little bit healthier. So we're going to be doing a banana oat pancake. It's just a little bit of an alternative to the traditional style. Well, maybe a little bit more than a little. It's an alternative to the traditional pancake. The reason it's a little bit healthier is just because we're going to be using the bananas, and that's our one source of sugar. So I'll go through all the ingredients with you. That way you can have an idea of what I'm going to be using, and then we'll get started. So the first thing is we're going to be doing bananas, of course. So I have 2 bananas. When you're choosing them, it's best to choose ones that are already yellow or even just a bit browned. And the reason for that is because once the bananas start to ripen, the sugar content is going to go up. So you're going to actually get a sweeter taste for your pancakes. So try to choose a little bit riper banana if you can. The next thing is we're going to be doing 2 eggs. So the full egg, you want to have the yolk and the white in there. So 2 eggs. I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of milk. You can use whichever milk you'd like. If you whatever milk you prefer. If you like skim, 2% full fat, whatever you have on hand is fine. You could also do like a milk alternative. So if you like oat milk or any kind of nut milk, those are also fine. It's really just to add a little bit of liquid to the recipe, the batch. Next thing is our vanilla extract. So in addition to the sugar, the actual sugar from the bananas, the vanilla extract is going to give also a little bit of a sweet taste. It's not actually sugar, but it's going to help to contribute a little bit more flavor to the dish. And to replace the actual flour in the pancakes, we're doing rolled oats. So oatmeal. And it's going to really help to give you a lot more fiber than you would get normally in a pancake. So we're just using some plain old-fashioned oats. Nothing crazy there. The baking powder. Baking powder is our leavening agent, so it's going to help to, make things rise up a little bit more. And cinnamon. So same thing, also for flavor. It's going to help to kind of like add a little bit more punchiness to everything. And then salt. I'm not going to show you the salt, but we're using some salt. Calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. You can kind of play around to taste. And then some olive oil. So I'm going to be honest, I actually haven't tried to actually cook these yet. So we're going to play around with what works best as far as on my skillet. So I have a spray olive oil and I have just regular, the actual olive oil. So we'll see which works best. It's just to prevent everything from sticking. So the easy part is happening now. We're just going to add everything. You can either do it in a blender. I'm doing mine in a food processor. You can also do like a hand blender if you have it, a Ninja, whatever you have on hand. We're just throwing everything in there and we're going to mix it. So first things first, we'll do our, actually the bananas go in first. I'm just going to break these up a little bit just so they start to kind of get mixed together. The eggs. And the milk. Hopefully this isn't too much liquid.
Why are your eggs orange?
That was just the color. Yeah, so they came out like that. I don't know if they were fed some super grains or if they were fed oranges, I don't know, but these chickens have some nice eggs. They look really pretty. I was like, I feel bad putting them into something. I'd rather just, you know, cook them on the skillet, but they're really a pretty egg. I know, I was like, is that a trick of my mind? So I'm putting the vanilla extract in. And then I'm also gonna do the oats. All right, and all our seasonings and powders. So once again, we're doing 2 teaspoons of the baking powder. We're gonna do a half a teaspoon of the cinnamon and a quarter teaspoon of salt. So I'm following the recipe exactly, but of course, you know, if there's like something that you prefer a little bit more of, like the cinnamon, or if you feel like it could be a little bit more salty, you could add a little bit more in, or if you feel like it's too much, you could take some out, whatever your taste preferences are. So I'm just gonna lock this up, and then it's gonna be a little bit loud just for a minute. We wanna get it so it's processed into like a smooth batter. So you want it to be like no chunks. Just to give you an idea of how long you should do it for. So pulse it a few times first, just to get everything a little bit mixed together, and then we'll go for it. Okay, it's looking good. Looks like it's going to be liquidy enough to pour onto the skillet. And speaking of that, let's get this going. I'm putting it about at a 5 on my stove, so about medium high. You will want to kind of keep an eye on it as you're cooking, because these might burn a little bit faster than a regular pancake. So if you start to notice any kind of smoking, or if you're noticing that they're just browning too fast, you can always turn it down, but just keep an eye on that. It's going to be a little bit of a different cooking process. So we'll just do this a little bit more just to make sure that we're fully together. All right. And then just to make the process a little bit easier, pouring it onto the skillet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my measuring cup. That way, pouring it will be easier for us. So, pour that into the measuring cup. It just makes it a little bit easier to get it onto the skillet without making a huge mess. All right. Great. There we go. Great, and it all fits. Perfect fit. Okay. Now we'll see how these turn out, because my son, he asks for pancakes literally every weekend. If he could have them both days on the weekend, he would. He asks for them all the time. So we'll see how these turn out. Maybe I could use this as an alternative sometimes. Do you eat pancakes in your house, Carol?
My daughters like pancakes, yes.
Yeah.
On the weekends.
It's such a weekend thing. I don't know why that is.
I don't know how much they're gonna like these.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll see. It's
We'll see.
a little different, but you know, it could be nice for a change. Change up. I'm going to use just regular olive oil first and see how that does. And I'm going to let that kind of mix around. It doesn't have to be a lot. You just want to kind of get it coated. So I'm just going to use a paper towel to kind of rub it along. And it smells like it's getting hot enough, so that's good. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do, we'll start with one just to test it out. It would be the same type of thing that you would do with a normal pancake, where you want to kind of wait until you're seeing a little bit of firmness around the edge and then some bubbling on the top. So that's what to look for once you're done. Let me just get this over here. All right. Now the recipe itself, if you're looking at it, this is going to feed about 3. Really depends on how many you eat. So if you have a bigger family, obviously you can make the pancakes a little bit smaller. They in your family, Carol, they might not be consuming them. So it just depends on how many you're making it for. But if you're gonna kind of break it out by 3. Each serving contains about 296 calories, so a little bit less than regular pancakes. You're also going to get a lot less sodium, so only about 260 milligrams, which is about 11% of your daily value. So it's right in the middle of where you want to be with your percent daily value. And you're getting a ton of fiber from these, so 6.5 grams of fiber per serving. So if you're really trying to work on increasing your fiber intake from natural sources, this is a good way to do it for sure. Okay, so it is it's working. Carol, do you have any health goals that you've been working on?
Well, I've been trying to reduce my sodium intake.
Okay.
Is something I've been working on. My cholesterol is like borderline, my doctor says. So I probably need to kind of focus on that a little bit, but more so the sodium is what I've been working on, because I have high blood pressure and I've never had it until I guess in the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
And so I have to watch my sodium intake. So I've cut back on the intake of
Yeah.
salt and things of that nature. Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you've been doing to try to watch your sodium?
So, I mean, like I cook with less salt. I don't put salt in a lot of the foods that I prepare now.
Okay, good.
And then I try to make sure that, um, you know, like if I'm using chicken broth, I'll use the lower sodium chicken broth,
Okay,
as
great.
opposed to um, the regular. Doesn't taste the same, but
Yeah, it's a little different.
it's a little different. Yeah.
That's great. Just trying to make like healthier choices. There usually
Right.
is a lower sodium option available for most things.
Right.
Do you ever look at the nutrition facts label on things?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I would really recommend using it to your advantage. If you're trying to watch your sodium intake, the best place to look is at the percent daily value, which is like all the way to the right on your nutrition facts label. Anything 5% or lower is considered low sodium. Anything 20% or higher is considered high.
Okay, that's good to know. Mhm.
Yeah, it's called the 5-20 rule. So it makes it a little bit easier
520. Okay.
to make sure that you're getting the correct amounts of things. So I'm trying to get these flipped. There we go. So I don't know if you can see, but let me get a little bit closer. It's looking brown. It's looking tasty.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
see.
So it's a little hard when you first start doing the pancakes, I've found, to know what temp you need to be at.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it looks like we're getting there. Yeah. Do you with the cholesterol, is that something that your doctor recommended, like making any dietary changes?
No, she just said be mindful of what I'm eating.
Mm-hmm.
fatty foods, fried foods, things like that.
Yeah.
Just be mindful of that. I mean, I tend not to, no, I correct that. I tend not to cook as much fatty foods,
Okay.
but takeout is always a quick
Yeah.
way of getting something to eat, either when you're out and about or on the weekends when you don't feel like cooking. Um, and I found that, you know, I like to get the veggie pizza, but I don't think they're as nutritional just as they sound. You know, you say, oh, let me have a veggie pizza. Well, and then you think you're doing something by getting the broccoli, the spinach, but then I think it's a lot of sodium and what have you on those
So,
as well,
yeah, I mean, but there's something to be said about that.
as opposed to pepperoni and sausage, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, a nice way to think about it is instead of thinking about everything you need to take away, how you can add certain things in. So, plant-based foods, like you mentioned, the veggies on the pizza, thinking about little ways like that you can add more of those plant-based, high fiber
Right.
foods to your diet. I mean, it's a little bit nicer than saying, well, you can't have XYZ. Instead you can think, well, let me try to boost up my fiber intake by adding in XYZ. So fruits, veggies, whole grains, oatmeal from the pancakes,
I know. Yeah.
all really good ways to kind of work on your cholesterol levels too.
Yeah. I'm not an oatmeal person. Never have as a child. I've never liked it, so that's hard for me.
Yeah. You mean
Oatmeal
just
was
like
hard.
plain,
Hmm?
you mean just plain on its own?
Just plain on its own.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard for me to eat.
I agree with you. I'm in the same boat.
I can't
So
eat
I
it.
think one's done. So let me take that off just so we can give it a little taste.
That's the key. That's the answer. What does it taste
Yeah,
like?
yeah.
Ooh.
That's the most important part.
Okay, where's your syrup? I don't see any syrup.
I can add a little syrup.
Because they are not going to eat it without any syrup.
No, we need a little syrup. You're right. Let's do that.
Todd, I know you're listening, so
Yeah, so I got some maple syrup here.
okay. Light, right?
I am.
Light.
Well, the one I have isn't. I'm a big proponent of use the most like natural form of whatever you find. It doesn't
Okay.
have light or low sugar. A lot of times that stuff contains a lot of artificial things also. So use what is the most natural form of things, but then just try to use a little bit less.
Gotcha.
So watch your portions,
You have no syrup on there.
I'm just gonna spread it out. I'm just gonna spread it. We're trying to be a healthy cooking show here.
I understand. Listen. Yes.
On a normal day, I most likely would have a lot more than this. So let me give it a taste. Okay.
Okay.
You can definitely taste the banana in there.
Okay.
It's a little creamier than like what a normal pancake would taste like, but it's definitely got a lot of flavor. It's not like gritty at all.
Right.
It tastes very smooth. It's really good. I'm a fan.
I might try it for him because my one daughter, she needs the fiber in her diet more. So I might try it and not tell them what I did.
They might know. They might realize.
They'll taste the difference.
Well, give it a shot. See what they do. I mean, they might be like, "Oh, these are really good," and then
right. I doubt it, but I'll try.
We like it anyway.
Right.
One thing that I would recommend. So, as far as like the cooking method, maybe go a little bit lower on the heat, just so they can cook through on the inside and not get browned as quickly. So maybe like instead of the 5, like I said, maybe go with like a 3 or 4 and just let them sit for a little bit longer.
Okay.
But yeah, they're tasty. I wish I could let you guys eat one.
So with the I noticed you didn't use a lot of baking powder. So did the oats kind of make them stick together for that pancake consistency?
So that would actually be the eggs.
The eggs, okay, okay,
They're the binder in there, so they're the ones that are kind of keeping everything together. The oats would be almost like the flour, like if we were flours for cakes, because when you actually grind up the oats, they're like a very powdery consistency.
Okay.
When you're blending everything together, make sure that, because of timing, I didn't have that much time, but when you're blending everything, make sure you get it nice and blended, as much as you can, because that'll cut back on how much grittiness you're getting, if you get any at all.
Okay.
So I know it's a banana oat pancake, but can you substitute another fruit?
Yeah, I think you could probably do, like apples, but I would or even pears. I would recommend maybe like softening them beforehand by cooking them like in the skillet, or you could even
Okay.
like wave them, just get them a little bit softer so that they're easier to blend up. Bananas don't have as much water as like a pear or an apple would have, so you cut back on your milk.
Okay.
And blueberries, I mean, like, what about blueberries, mixing in blueberries? They should blend pretty easily.
Yeah, so I would say probably like if you wanted to add blueberries in, it might be better to even do that at the end after you've blended the batter.
Okay.
And then just have those kind of whole, and then
Okay.
like you would just a normal blueberry cake.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Good. So we have a minute left. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Questions.
Well,
Thought-
I forgot just that quick. What oatmeal? So because let's say I'll try the pancake, but I'm trying to find a way that I can eat the oatmeal. So I did try blending it into like I'm gonna say a smoothie.
Okay.
Where I cooked the oatmeal first,
Mhm.
and then I blended it in with I had some fruit into it. I think I had some frozen fruit that I mixed into it.
Okay.
And I mixed and some broccoli and spinach. I think that's what I had mixed all in together.
Yeah.
And drank it that way. Am I getting the nutritional value that oatmeal will give if I'm doing it that way?
Yeah, sure. I mean, whether it's cooked or raw, it's going to probably have the same nutrition as far as like, the vitamins that are in there, the amount of fiber that you're getting. It's going to stay the same. You might want to try what we did today, where you don't cook the oats.
Okay.
You just
Blend
put
it.
the processor
Okay.
until they're like a powder.
Okay.
And you put that into the smoothie, and you wouldn't get like a whole lot of graininess from that. It would be almost if you were to add like a protein powder into the smoothie.
Okay.
So you could try that and see if you like it. Don't force yourself to eat something that you don't like. So like if you keep trying to shovel in the oatmeal and the form that you don't like, it's just going to make it worse. So, test out different things. You could do the pancakes, you could do the powder and just like add it on top of different dishes.
Okay. I'll try it. Yep. Okay.